Nicola Sturgeon there. Let's go back to Dover in Kent now. Hundreds of lorries and vans are stuck there because of the French travel ban on lorries coming in from the UK because of fears about that new variant of coronavirus. In fact, the latest report from Kent County Council was 3,000 lorries are stuck in Kent. A lot of those drivers pretty angry. They want to get home for Christmas. Let's go to Sangita Myska once again in Dover. What's the latest there, Sangita?
Yeah, Ben, they do seem pretty frustrated and they do seem pretty angry, and I can probably help explain why. I've been here for about 5 hours now, and just to give you a scene set, on this side is the very last roundabout that takes you straight into the port. On this side, all the way back, hundreds and hundreds of lorries completely stuck. This is the A20, it runs into the M20. You've seen aerial pictures of what's going on the M20, which is thousands of lorries now stuck there, and also at the airfield around the corner. Nobody has gone anywhere. It has been incredibly calm all day, but in the last 10 minutes or so, maybe 15, lorry drivers began hooting their horns. They started getting out of their lorries, and then they started, in essence, walking up to the police and demanding answers. But the police that are here, it's only a handful of them, and they don't have very many answers either. They've been asked simply to stop the lorries. The lorry drivers are desperate to get out of here and get home. There's literally no information on the ground here. Many of the guys here don't speak English, and they're not really being told anything on the French side where their bosses are either. What I need to tell you is that over the last 48 hours, what all of the lorry drivers here have been telling me is that they have had no running water, there are no toilet facilities, they have to buy food on the hoof. Of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic. That means that they can't do what they might have done in the past, which is go in to a cafe and use the facilities there. All of that is closed off to them. The weather is absolutely atrocious. They've now spent at least 2 nights in their cabs, and I think what we're seeing here is just a desperate plea for information and a clear idea of what the procedures are to get them home.
Sangita, as you were saying, around 3,000 lorries stuck. It's a huge number. It's the sort of disruption that we were expecting, possibly in the case of, the end of the Brexit transition period at the end of the year, and that's what the government had been planning for. And now it's come a bit early because of this coronavirus crisis.
Yeah, so it's interesting actually. Grant Shapps, Transport Secretary, yesterday in a Q&A was asked what he made of all this, and he said, well, actually, this is all of those plans that we had put in place for Brexit. They've all come to fruition just a couple of weeks early, and actually this is an indication of how the system, should there be a post-Brexit gridlock, how that system would work. What I think the lorry drivers here, and you can see their frustration coming out of their lorry cabs, would say is, if this is what's going to happen at Brexit, we might also see a bit more of this. So lorry drivers coming out frustrated, wanting answers as to when and how things are going to move along. We've already had a statement from the Road Haulage Association making a plea to the government, saying that no contingency planning was put in place to feed these guys or give them shelter or make sure that they can have basic washing facilities. The irony of this being, Ben, that the reason the French have closed their borders, as have other European nations, is because they are very worried about the mutant version of the virus, which of course spreads up to 70% faster than the other version, the first version of coronavirus that had landed here. What the lorry drivers are saying, and what the Road Haulage Association is saying, is that we're now in a vicious cycle. These guys can't keep clean, they are running out of hand sanitizers, they do not have sanitary wipes being distributed here, and they cannot wash their hands. So this is becoming a cycle. What we also heard from the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, this morning was that the key to breaking this deadlock, and these talks are going on between the UK government and of course the French government, is trying to introduce an effective testing regime. The problem is there are still no details about when that testing regime will be put in place and who it is that are going to be dispensing and monitoring those tests. As you know, the talk this morning was about the lateral flow tests. Also this morning, serious concerns being raised about the efficacy of those lateral flow tests and exactly how accurate they are. So, as you can see, it doesn't look like these lorry drivers have any intention of getting back into their cabs until they have more answers, and nobody seems to have the answers to an awful lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of frustration there. Sangita, thank you very much indeed, Sangita Myska.